welcome to the daily reading for all signs for today, the 12th of December, 2024, excuse me. This is Ariel Gatoga, and today I am reading with this beautiful RWS XTDM tarot deck, which unfortunately is not currently available, but in the video description, I put a link to a different Marseille deck that you might enjoy. I'm going to purify with this Cedra by Roger and Gallet, which is a wonderful substitute for Van Ban. 3 sprays in this room is more than sufficient. You can find a link for that as well in the video description of this video on YouTube. Let's see what's in the cards for everybody today. We start out today with this beautiful 10 of Cups, followed by a gorgeous Ace of Swords, and our beautiful Priestess card. Lovely, lovely, lovely. You know, this is such a nice time for so many of you. It's been so challenging and so difficult, and I know it remains challenging and difficult in many, many ways for many lives. And that doesn't go away, not on this earth. But you are in a really optimal position to win. And for many of you are winning for yourselves, many of you are winning for others too, and fighting in a good way, and triumphing. So in the suit of swords is all about conflict. And people think that the suit of swords thus is all negative cards. That's not true at all. Conflict is a part of this world. And how we deal with that conflict is what is determined in those cards. So this is you having all the power. If you were playing the game of tarot and you had to, you were playing in this, there happened to be a play going for in the suit of swords, you could pick up that trick easily because you got the winning hand. And that means that you have the winning hand when it comes to any conflict in life. Now, a lot of you, that's going to be good for you in regards to yourself, but I think for many of you, it's helpful because others are going through some conflicts that you can be a great support system for. Because you're doing well. This 10 of Cups, you're in the midst of a very lovely trend, it says. Now, many times we don't see these trends and we just kind of go along with the zeitgeist and we go along with what everybody else is doing. And it's saying sometimes those blessings seem to be behind the surface, and that's what that Priestess card is all about. She's the great mystery, but that doesn't mean they're not there. And this 10 of Cups is what I call the happily ever after card. And your happily ever after is going to look unique unto you. Now, I know a couple, and at first glance, when you see them, you think, God, they must be miserable. Because all they do is bicker, all they do is whine, all they do is have, conflict resolution. But knowing them as I do over the years, that's what their happily ever after looks like. They're quite content in that. They're not going anywhere. They love each other very much. It's just their bizarre love language that the rest of us don't quite understand, but they're happy. And that's their happily ever after. And so what your happily ever after looks like is up to you. And right now it looks like your happily ever after has to do with being the winner. Being the winner in the face of the mystery too. When you don't know what's coming around the bend. You don't know what's coming around the next corner. And you don't care. That's the great attitude that you can start to really foster in yourself and to really nurture in yourself, that it doesn't matter what the future holds. The future is safe because you have everything you need. You have everything you need at every moment of time and point of space to win. And that's up to you to adopt that and to know that, and then your circumstances reflect that. We have this beautiful Justice card followed by a 5 of Cups. And then we have this Magician card. So this is where we can get off kilter just a bit. In the midst of your happily ever after, in the midst of your winning, in the midst of your victory and your triumph, you can have feelings. You can have feelings that are not good. You can get depressed. You can feel bad for yourself or feel bad for other people. You can look at the news and just feel awful. And then your first, so for many of you, your first response to that is, what do I do? How do I help? Which is noble. It's wonderful. But it's not so much what can I do? How can I manipulate the situation? How can I change things according to my will? It's more about letting things be the way they are. When you can let something be the way it is and not want to change it, it starts to dissolve. And that's where this power lies, not in how do I go and change it? Because what that does is it just gets the ego involved, and the ego wants to try to so-called change things for you. But what it does is it rearranges things so that you don't get out of the problem. It gives you a momentary sense of respite from whatever it is, but it's not really helping. And that's not what this Ace of Swords is all about. This Ace of Swords is you absolutely triumphing. And so allowing things to be the way they are is how you get a hold of this sword, because that is the power that dissolves it. If you don't fight against it, if you let it be, truly let it be, that is like sulfuric acid to the problem. It just completely dissolves the whole thing. But you have to acknowledge your own need to rush in and fix things and change things and say, I'm just going to try something different this time. I'm just going to let it be the way it is. I'm going to allow myself to be in the presence of whatever it is and let it be perfect the way it is. Just let it be perfect the way it is. And the solutions then come out of nowhere. The solutions come out of nowhere when you do that. The other thing too that's going on is divine restitution is the sort of one of the overall overarching feelings in this reading. And it's a very important time for you, because there's been some places in your past where things, in everybody's past, but we're talking about you, where things weren't fair, where you might have, you hear something like, just let things be the way they are. And you think, well, so just let them get away with it. Just let everything just, because the law of divine restitution is so much more powerful than your ego. It's going to be able to really change things and create the fairness and bring about that balance that has been missing. You can't do that. You don't really have that power. The ego wants you to think you have that power, but you really don't by yourself. But when you are teaming up with divine justice, when you're teaming up with the law of restitution, nothing can stand in its way, and everything has to come back to balance. So that law of restitution is in action, and it's going to work as slowly as it needs to until you accept it. But if you accept it right away, then it doesn't need to wait for you anymore. If you accept the gifts that the law of restitution is bringing you, then those things that need to be rebalanced happen almost instantaneously. So just call on the divine law of restitution. You can do it very innocently and simply. I call upon the divine law of restitution. Anything that has been lost or taken from me is now returned to me with interest in a wonderful way. And your job then is to find peace within the moment. Now, in the moment, things will happen that you are called on to respond to. And instead of being the magician about it, saying, I know what to do, hold off on that and call upon the mystery and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to respond to this. Please help me. And you'll get inspired. You'll either have action that you need to take, and it'll be very clear to you, or very commonly, you'll get a very clear sense, don't do anything. Leave it alone. And your ego will say, no, you can't leave it alone. That's irresponsible. And if the infinite intelligence is telling you leave it alone, you don't listen to your ego. You listen to infinite intelligence. I can't tell you how many times when I've wanted to go in and fix something and I've asked, what do I do at whatever was in front of me? And I've gotten, just hold off. Don't do anything right now. It's taken care of itself. And had I gone in, rushed in and tried to fix it, I would have not only perpetuated the problem, but I would have probably messed things up even more, knowing me. because that's just how it works a lot of times with me. So I've learned over time to listen to that still small voice within me, and whatever's going on in front of me, especially if it's something painful or scary or something unwanted, I allow it to be exactly the way it is, and then I ask, what do? I don't know how to respond to it. Now, sometimes I will get a very clear course of action. Call so-and-so. Ask so-and-so to help you, or whatever. I'll just get a flash, about what to do, and I'll do it, and the thing will resolve. But usually by me thinking I know what to do, by doing this magician thing, thinking I'm clear on what to do without asking first, I usually don't get the results that I want. And so that's a very important lesson today, to first and foremost recognize that you have all the power that you need to resolve any situation. You are in the midst of a happily ever after, and you don't always know what's coming and what's happening. You don't usually know. And since you don't really have the vantage point of everything, what's in front of you to do is there for you to ask and just admit, I don't know what this means. I don't know how to respond to it, but I'm willing to be shown. Please show me. Please tell me. And then you get quiet. And if you are very clearly supposed to do something, do it. If you're very clearly not supposed to be something, do something. Don't do it. Now, calling upon that divine law of restitution is very important, because then you're giving it permission to work in your life. And a lot of times the way that divine law of restitution operates is very odd, and it doesn't make sense to us. And so that's another reason why not to rush in and change things on your own without asking, because you might be interfering with what's the best thing for you that's wanting to come and manifest. And like I said, it comes out of nowhere. You won't always understand it. Usually you won't understand it, and you won't necessarily even expect it. Sometimes it comes, like Joseph Murphy used to say, like toast popping out of the toaster. When you've forgotten about it, just all of a sudden there's your solution. So you're doing great. Just heed this communication from the cards today, to take it one little step at a time. Ask to be directed. Stay present in the moment. Try not doing too much judging about your situation, and call upon that divine law of restitution. And this is a continuation of your happily ever after. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. And we'll see everybody for another daily reading tomorrow. Blessed be.